Welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast. A show where we discuss tips, tricks and tools to help all Guardians succeed and enjoy playing more. What makes us different? Well, we're not streamers or YouTubers. We just have a passion for Destiny and are dedicated to keeping Guardians informed and up to date with all the latest Destiny 2 news, information and opinions. We encourage your questions and feedback, and you can contact us either by email, twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com, or on Twitter at twotitans_hunter. Now, on with the show. Today I am joined by the world famous Pink Shader Titan of all fronts. Yes, you've guessed it, the one, the only, the indestructible Curate. And I'm also joined by a hunter who is the self-professed star of the show. You know who he is. He's back. The one, the only, Respawn. So, welcome back, Respawn, you wee hunter.
Silly biscuit.
So 19, when someone made a Drifter soundboard. Just gonna throw that out there.
Woo! Get ready to be bad guy.
Are you going to link that in the show notes?
Yeah, I'll look in the show notes, and I've been sitting here having fun with it.
Who wants to kick us off this week?
I've already kind of picked out the things I want to talk about, but I guess I'll do it. All right. What's up, guys? Respawn is back. Sorry about the hiatus, but, real life gets involved and things happen and people get close to death. And anyway, here I am. So welcome back, me. So this week at Bungie, the Drifter just keeps on drifting. We are now on our third week of the season of the Drifter, and there is a lot going on. All 3 tiers of the Reckoning are now live, and you can go do them all. The Thorn Quest is available for those who are brave enough to wield the Dark Weapon. Gambit Prime is on Legion's Folly for the first time this week, and it will migrate to the Emerald Coast next week. If you're looking for lore, Invitations of the Nine started last Friday, and it continues for many weeks to come. Complete the first invitation to discover the backstory of the Drifter and his ties to the Mysterious Nine. Everyone who accepted the first invitation last Friday will have a new experience this week. However, if you missed it last week, don't worry, you can pick it up this Friday. There won't be a cutscene every week, but that definitely wasn't the last one that you'll see. Am I going into the Iron Banner and all that stuff too, or?
Before we jump into the Iron Banner, we could always also talk about the issue that's happening with Xur this week. So if you didn't visit Xur last week to kick off your Invitations of the Nine quest, you are currently locked out and can't pick it up this week. Bungie are aware of this, and DMG has responded. If you did not complete your invitations by Tuesday at reset last week, you will be unable to acquire new invitations this week. We are developing a change for this, but give us a bit more time. After update 2.2.1, you'll have until Thursday to complete the invitation. So they do know about it. They're going to fix it. But if you didn't pick it up the first week, you're kind of locked out for the next couple of weeks until they fix it or until they update.
Gee, I'm glad you mentioned that because I don't see that here on the pages.
It was only that we brought it up just then. I thought I'd talk about it. And I only found out about it because somebody in our clan, Seventh Scar, shout out to him because I know he listens. I was telling him to go to Xur this week. And when he went there, he was like, it's not here. I'm like, what do you mean it's not here? It's underneath the sword card. And he's like, no, definitely not here. He even sent me a screen picture. I was like, your game's broken. He's like, do I need to complete the Allegiance quest? Do I need to do the Thorn quest? What do I need to do to unlock it? I was like, sorry, man, I really don't know. I don't have the answers. Found a post on Reddit, people saying the same thing, completely locked out. And then I think I found a response by DMG there saying, yeah, we're really sorry. We are aware of this. We're going to fix it, but you are locked out.
Yeah, not for me, it's not.
And I was thinking of that. I thought, what happens if I pick it up on my Warlock and leave it there? And does it disappear after the reset, or can I complete it after reset? And I didn't do it. I didn't have time to do it.
So remember that big thing we made a big point about, make sure you do these every week because you're going to have 9 weeks in a row to do this? Yeah, it turns out we didn't test that, or it didn't work when we tested it before. Whoops.
So, moving on to Iron Banner's returning this week. So, Parody, do you want to take us through what is happening and when it's happening?
Sure. So Iron Banner comes back this week. Iron Banner and Double Valor. It starts on Tuesday at reset. That's March 26th. It'll be at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and it ends, a week later on April 2nd at reset. It's going to be Iron Banner and double Valor. So if you're trying to get through anything that involves getting some more Valor, jump into the Crucible, jump into Iron Banner, bring your 6 Rat Kings, grab a full team and have a good time with it. So this Iron Banner, as I always do, they're going to, unleash a couple of new tricks on us. So we've got a couple of new things you can do. The Iron Burden, it's a new consumable that is going to lower your power level by 100, putting more focus on skill, strategy, and gunplay. And then with greater risk comes greater rewards. So for the Brave, Saladin will be offering the Iron Banner consumable. It'll cost you 5 Iron Banner tokens. So you've been looking at your vault full of, 700 Iron Banner tokens going, what do I do with these? Now you can do something with them. Spend them on this. There'll be a new triumph you can earn if you kill 500 opponents while the Iron Burden debuff is active. And if you complete the reward, you will get an updated version of the Wizened Rebuke fusion rifle that is fully masterworked and has a curated roll on it. You don't have to complete this during the first Iron Banner. Your progress will carry over to the next Iron Banner if you can't get it done, during this week. We're also going to have the Wolf's Favor. For those of you who find yourselves in PvE activities more frequently, the Wolf's Favor consumable has been added as an invitation to try your hand at Iron Banner. They will drop from a number of activities in limited availability. You'll gain a temporary 100 power increase up to a cap of 700 for 30 minutes. So, if you're underpowered and you're like, I want to go into Iron Banner because my light level matters there, this will take your power level up 100 points above what it is, capping at 700. So you're not running at 750 or 800 or something absurd. So these are going to drop from, these have a chance to drop, as all things. Look at your RNG, see if it's worth it. Your daily heroic story mission, Vanguard Strikes, Nightfall, Flashpoint, Gambit and Forsaken Only, and the weekly milestones for Mycora and Hawthorne. So if you're looking for those, again, it has a chance to drop for all these activities. It's not a guarantee drop.
So I want to point this out, right? Because you know how when you play the Iron Banner, light level matters, right? The first 50 levels are kind of negligible, but after the 50 levels, you start to get hit with that whole damage disparity, right? So imagine for a second, right? You're a guy that wants to utilize the thing that we were just talking about. Hold on. The Iron Burden. Okay. So no. Well, I'm getting there. So you use the Iron Burden, right? So that you can get that special weapon with the curated roll, right? But you have another guy who's okay. So let's say both people are max light at this point, right? So 700 light. Okay. You got the one guy that's going to use it and bring his light level down by 100, right? So that is, if I remember correctly, 2 damage disparity caps, right? The first 50 and the second 50. That's going to be nutty as hell, right? So oh man. So this is, again, assuming that you don't have another guy who also uses the Wolf's Favor, right? They say it caps at 700, and I get that, right? So the most you can have is the 100 light level disparity there. But still, that is a huge disparity, man. That's huge. Like, I wonder what the damage drop off is going to be at that much light difference. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah, I think at that point, we go back to using your technique to grind through the crucible weapons, of just stand behind people and let them take the bullets for you, and then you finish them off as and get those kills and
with a Jotun,
earn your weapon that way. Exactly, get your Jotun.
Yep.
So we'll put a link in the notes. Light GG has a link to the curated roll of the Wizened Rebuke. So it's going to come with Demolitionist. It kills with this weapon, generate grenade energy. Activating your grenade ability reloads this weapon from reserves. Moving target, increase movement speed and target acquisition when aiming down sights. Enhanced battery for your increased magazine size. That'll add 20 to your magazine. It's got a hitmark IS sight on it, which is the agile sight with short zoom. Increases handling speed and slightly increased range. And it's a high impact frame weapon. So looks like that's what our curated roll is going to be on here, if I'm reading this right. So it should be fun. I enjoy the I enjoy the Iron Banner, and I like that that's sort of, I feel like Destiny doesn't do a ton of, or Bungie doesn't do a ton of experimentation. Looking for you, Crucible Labs. Where are you? But it's nice to see them at least using Iron Banner as the place where they can play a little bit. Since light level sort of matters, they can at least use that as a little bit of a sandbox to play around. Because it seems like, again, there's not a whole lot of testing going on. And again, we had Crucible Labs come, and then it left us far too soon.
Yeah, this new Wizened Rebuke is slightly different to the original Iron Banner from year one. So the original one had the backup plans with the grants reduced charge time, increases the handling speed for a short time after immediately swapping to the weapon, and liquid coils. So this new one's got that new perk on it that you were just talking about with the demolitionist. So it's something they've created specially for the weapon. And I wonder how it's going to play out, to be honest.
Yeah. Shoot grenade, shoot grenade, shoot grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the backup plan, the Wizened Rebuke, the non-curated one, it could come with either backup plan, high impact reserves, rage finder, tap the trigger, or demolitionist in the second slot. The first slot will give you either under pressure, firmly planted, auto-loading holster, moving target, or a threat detector. And again, there's accelerated coils, enhanced battery, ionized battery, basically all the options. It's all in there. You'll get something. Maybe it'll be garbage. Maybe it'll be good. Mine tend to be absurd, like the bow I had that also, the ones that give me snapshot sights and hip fire. So, look down quicker, but don't do that if you want to be more accurate. Because random rolls truly are random rolls.
That sounds like an ass bow, man. I'm sorry.
That was the first one I got from Black Armory. I was like, all right, I got the bow from Black Armory. Let's see what's on this. I'm like, really? Really, game? No. So those are random rolls, all right.
Oh, goodness. All right.
Yeah, what I talked about, did Respawn, did you have anything you want to say about it?
No, I mean, Wolf's Favor is good for like the underleveled players to bring them up to the same light level so that they don't, even if they have a skill disparity, they at least don't have a light level disparity, which is good, right? But at the same time, you have you have the underleveled guys using the Wolf's Favor to bring themselves up, and then the max light level guys using the burden to bring their light level down. And it's gonna be so bad because there's gonna be you can just see the messages. You can just see the messages, right? One of these guys that considers themselves a pro just comes in and just wipes the floor with some kid, right? Or kids, plural, and starts talking smack about, yeah, I bet you're even using the Wolf's Favor, yada yada yada, and still, just the smack talking. I can see the smack talking, but I don't even think that's gonna do him any good, right? Because the skill gap matters. Even if they're playing at a lower at a disadvantage, their skill is still going to definitely be the gap because they're still going to land more headshots and be able to sway back and forth and just smoke these kids that are just trying to strafe. I
don't know if you have the this week in Bungie pulled up in front of you and looking at these lovely rotating Iron Banner armor sets. I've been trying to figure out. It reminds me of something. I'm sitting here, looking, the Warlock and the Titan, especially that helmet. I'm going. This reminds me of something, and I can't quite put my finger on what alien or what creature. It just looks. I don't know. It's been bugging me. The helmet, especially like the face and the head, looks like something to me, and I can't put my finger on it. But I dig this Iron Banner armor. It looks a little more like the samurai armor we had.
For the Hunter, you mean?
Well, the Hunter less so, just because he's got the cape, but like all the helmets are pretty similar, but the Warlock and the Titan especially, just, I don't know, something with the face, and I can't quite, I don't know what it is, sort of like that. It almost looks like a snub nose kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
No, I understand what you're saying. It's reminding me of the Star Trek universe, like Deep Space Nine, one of those alien races kind of thing.
Maybe that's it. I'll have to go back and look. Yeah, because I saw these, and first I was struck by, I sort of dig the samurai look. Again, I wish we had the Iron Banner ornaments back because I loved putting those on to change the looks up of these. But I dig the I can be a samurai again. But it's like, I'm like a snub-nosed alien samurai.
I think they did a really, really good job on the Warlock armor. I mean, all around, right? But if you look at the freaking Hunter armor, it's like they got lazy. They made the cape all the way down. I dig the cape. Don't get me wrong. The cape is nice.
You can see the hood. You can see the bottom of that cape. You know why they did that? Because they want you to remember, hunters. You can see the bottom of that cape now when you look at it. So they're going to make you a cape you can see all the way down.
You know what I want though? You know what I really, really want? I want a cape. I want a cape without a hood. Because if you remember back in D1, a lot of us kept that very first cape that we had because it didn't have a hood. And later on, they added one or two more capes that didn't have hoods. And those were awesome, right? Because you could see your actual full headgear instead of just like the front part of it. And I really, really love those. I wish they would bring those back. Give me some hoodless capes, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's no capes right now in Destiny 2 that are hoodless. Every hunter's got to be in a hoodie.
I'm pretty sure that is the case. Also, if you look, right, like, see, this is going to sound so bad, but if you look at the hunter when she's spinning around and you look at the ass, it looks like they're wearing a diaper. I'm not a fan of that. You see that?
That's because they see that Titan coming and they're like, oh God, bad things are going to happen to me.
You know what? You're talking about the whole hunters beware, Titans are coming and things and that and the other, right? And you're not wrong, right? And I was watching a video earlier today and this guy's all like, I finally found a hunter, exotic that's going to be, really good and all this other stuff. And he was going over it and his reasoning is sound, right? His reasoning is sound. But I gotta say, the actual how it's actually going to work is not the way he thinks it's going to be, right? Because he thinks, oh yeah, this gun is, or this helmet is, because it's working with the thorn specifically, right? He's like, so this is gonna
for you to look at,
okay. Right. And I saw that, right? And he's talking about how, it's going to bring hunters up and now hunters are going to be a thing now in the Crucible because, they used to be completely useless, but now this is going to bring them up and everything like that. And like his logic is sound, right? But that helmet only really makes a difference the last 1/8 of their health bar.
You're talking about Foe Tracer, aren't you, again?
Yeah. And that really only makes a difference the last 1/8 of the health bar. Yes, it does mark them. I get that, right? So you can, if they duck behind a corner, you know where they're at, and maybe you can tuck around, get that one more shot, maybe proximal poison damage. I can get that aspect of the playstyle, but for him to say that this is going to bring up hunters to the point where they can compete against Titans and whatnot, and I honestly cannot agree with that, because if the hunter's got range, okay, cool. If the hunter sees the Titan coming and he's got time, yeah, great. I'm all for it because, it'll do that tick damage and really finish him off in that last 1/8 of the health, right? But if they're in CQC or close quarters, unless that hunter can really out agility this Titan before the Titan can hit him, I don't know, once, I don't see how he thinks that this is going to bring hunters up to the level of Titan, But, I mean, to be fair, in PvP, nothing is at the level of Titan right now, even with all the quote-unquote nerfs that they've gotten. So, that's just me, I guess.
Going back slightly to the Wolves' Burden, or the Iron Burden, and the Wolves' Favour, I'm wondering if they've tested this 100%. Because you imagine, you get the Iron Burden, put that on, you were 700, you're now down to 600. You then pop a Wolves' Favour. How's that going to affect it?
Is it going to affect 7,000? You become a meteor flying from the sky.
No, but is the game going to then think you are 700 because you've popped that boon, and the burden says you are getting those kills?
Yeah, I'm going to hope while you have one active, the other one can't be activated. That's where I'm going to hope.
Yeah, there's always hope in these situations.
I mean, since there is, like the Wolf's Favor runs for 30 minutes, and this doesn't say, but I assume the Iron Burden will also run for 30 minutes. So I'm going to assume it's a 30-minute lockout. You pop one, you get your half-hour playtime. You pop another one, then you can do the next one. I'm going to hope you can't do them together, but
I am going to play around with it. I'm going to see if it works, just for science. Again, for science.
But does it physically change your light level? Like if you were at 700. Does it change to a 6, or does it still show that you're 700 and you're just 600 within the activity?
Well, when you do the Nightfall, it reduces your light on screen, doesn't it? Once you're in the game, it says what light you've lowered it to. So I'm guessing that it will do that. It will lock it at that.
Yeah, that's my guess. So yeah, since the mechanic's already in the game for that, again, one activity, the Nightfall, to change this, I'm assuming it'll say, yeah, for this one activity, Iron Banner, it'll change it. Then you jump into Quick Play or Comp or Strikes or Gambit, it'll go back to normal.
You say that, but there's lots of activities that are already within the game that when Bungie try to implement or change, it makes things go wonky. So I'm not entirely confident about that. I see your logic. I understand what you're saying.
Right.
But in practice, it hasn't always worked out.
That's why we're saying we hope, because see, we have to take into account the Bungie golden rule is they're going to fix something something else is going to break. You don't know what it's going to be yet.
Astronomically.
It might be laser tag weekend. And again, I mean,
dude, honestly, I wish it would be. That was so fun. A lot of people complain about it, but I had so much fun during laser tag weekend. I can't even. That was the one time I enjoyed playing Trials. You know, because I played Trials a lot to get the weapons and the armor, but that was the only time I enjoyed playing it. I was playing it just for the freaking Star Wars light show, man. It was great.
See, Bungie, I know you're listening. I know you're not listening, but you should be listening. Bungie, you need to bring back some sort of like mayhem absurd gun. Make the Rat King 10 times more useful. Pick a gun. Don't even tell us. The community absolutely loves things like the Whisper Quest that you just spring on us. I was running around with Night Demon this week, and I don't even remember where we were now. We were somewhere, and it's like, that's a thing I've never noticed before. It's like, is it a glitch, or did we stumble across some new activity Bungie has dropped on us? I would love to log into a game after reset, and then either stumble across or start seeing people being like, Tuesday afternoon going, hey guys, this Skyburner's Oath now acts like a flamethrower. It shoots like flaming Mario style balls at people all of a sudden. Why? Because they threw into the game on us randomly. Or like we're talking about the laser tag weekend was the glitch with the Prometheus lens of making it, I don't remember, way more powerful than it should be, so it just melted people. I would love to have either tell us, hey, this is coming, or put it in a playlist, or hello, Crucible Labs. But yeah, I would love to jump in and find a gun that's just stupidly powerful now, especially something that you'd never think to use.
Or it doesn't even have to be powerful, right? But you gave me an idea, right? What if they just made a change, right? So Skyburner's Oath, for example, because you said the Mario thing, what if it behaved exactly the way it does, but every time you shot a bullet, it made the Mario little fireball bloop noise? You know what I mean? So you just go bloop, 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 bloop. Just shooting the Skyburners up and making the little Mario fireball noise.
And then the Rat King would just start shooting actual rats at people, and it would be downhill from there.
Rats that landed on the ground and chased people like the freaking spider bot grenade launcher.
Right. Of course, yeah. The colony. Of course, the colony. I wish I could find who said this, but one of the guys at Bungie was like, when we were looking at the colony, we had this idea. They modeled it off the way the rabbits run around in the EDZ. You see the rabbits running across the ground, and they're like, so our initial builds of the colony, you would shoot the gun, and a little rabbit would run out and run across the ground towards your enemies, because they basically use the rabbits as their idea for that. So, I mean, a colony gun that shoots rabbits that explode at you. Perfect thing for Easter.
Oh my God. Yeah, I remember that, them saying that a while ago. God, if we did have a bunny gun in the game, what kind of... Whatever. Spider bots are awesome. I love the spider bots, but a bunny gun would be pretty cool too. And then they came up with the Jade Rabbit, now that I think about it. But, whatever.
They will actually they'll actually shoot Jade Rabbits at you.
Did we go over bounties that have changed?
Nope, we're going to talk about absurd guns in the game for the next 4.5 hours. The 1,000 voices when you shoot the 1,000 voices, instead of that being like a chorus, a Sunday church choir will appear and just start singing hallelujah, and everybody dies.
Oh my God. Or just every time you throw a grenade, you hear hallelujah, boom. Every grenade in the game becomes the holy hand grenade for a day.
Yes. The holy hand grenade of Mercury that Brother Vance will...
Antioch.
No, that's copyrighted. Holy hand grenade of Brother Vance. Brother Vance will bestow upon you the holy hand grenade after you've answered him these questions Vance. 3.
No.
It's going to be Vance. It's got to come from a monk. Come on now.
What does that have to come from a monk, though? Let it come from a warlock. They're monk-ish.
Then they're going to need a hood. They're going to have to borrow a hood from one of these hunters. Hey, I don't make the rules. Okay. That's just how it works.
Fair enough. All right. So what's next on the chopping block? We got...
So, our weapon drops for Iron Banner this time around is going to be, again, the Wizened Rebuke, both the curated roll for doing the Triumph and the, random rolls for just completing a bounty or getting it in the game. We're also going to have the Ore Wings Maul with random rolls that'll drop from match completion and from token packages. Oh, and Saladin will also offer you up a new emblem you can pick up after completing all the weekly bounties called the Weight of Guilt, and it will track your high-powered opponents defeated while under the effects of the Iron Burden. So once you put your Iron Burden on, it'll give you a nice little counter so you can see when you get close to 500, or just wear it around like a mark of honor. until the next Iron Banner. All right, that should be the end of the Iron Banner-ness.
No, we have some discussion points.
Well, the end of the TWAB Iron Banner.
Okay, so there are a couple of things about the Iron Banner that we can go over. So, weapons currently in your inventory getting rerolled, such as Criminal's Dagger, is an issue that Bungie are investigating, as new perks were added to the weapon, which caused a bug with those already owned by the player. And Iron Banner armor will not drop with enhanced perks this season, apparently. So hopefully that's coming, because that's one thing the community has been asking for, rather than just going to the Dreaming City and doing the raids and getting the enhanced perks. It should come from like Iron Banner and Trials when that comes back.
So hold on. Let me look. Sorry, I need to vent here for a second, right? So far up until the last couple of seasons, right? You get the Iron Banner armor, and then every season after that, if you've already got the armor, you get the ornaments that change the way they look. You still have the same armor with the same rolls, assuming you got rolls that you wanted, right? But the first set of year 2 armor that we got from the Iron Banner, they should have just let that random roll, right? And if you've already got the armor, every Iron Banner that comes after that gives you the ornaments for it, right? Instead of getting all new armors, like for the example you just gave, right? This armor is not going to roll with enhanced rolls on it, right? Why the hell not, right? Why is that even a thing? Why are we getting new armors instead of just getting ornaments for our armor to change the way it looks? What is the point in getting actual new different armor? Because what if I've already got a set of armor that I like for Iron Banner? It's got all the rolls on it. Every piece of armor has, for example, a special weapon scavenger, for example, right? That's what I want. I want lots of special weapon ammo, right? Now I got to go hope that RNG blesses me for this set of armor too for only 1 week of activity. No, that's really, really aggravating. You should have the choice to get new armors, right? But you should also just be able to get ornaments. You know what I mean? That way, if I've got the armor that has enhanced hand cannon loader, enhanced rocket targeting, and enhanced whatever, right? I can still use that armor instead of, oh, by the way, this armor for this, Iron Banner, it's not going to have enhanced rolls. Well, that immediately makes it not as good as the older stuff. Immediately. The fact that it can't roll with those things.
Yeah. No, I understand where you're coming from. But I think that it's probably been pre-programmed for the last couple of months that that's the armor and that's what's going to happen. And then the community has gone, well, why are we not getting enhanced perks on these pinnacle pieces of content like Iron Banner? So,
and if it's the same programming, we should have enhanced perks on it, right? Because we had enhanced perks before, if I'm mistaken, right?
Not on Iron Banner.
Ever.
You can only get the enhanced perks on Dreaming City armor.
Oh,
on the raid.
You know what?
Armor.
You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah,
and I think that's it, wasn't it? It's only raid and Dreaming City armor that you can get the enhanced perks.
Well, not just. Oh, you mean any raid? Yes,
yeah,
any raid armor.
But that's what I'm saying. It's been restricted to those things. I mean, yes, you can get it out in the wild in Dreaming City, but you can also get it in the raid. But it is just restricted to that. Whereas people are saying, why isn't it in Iron Banner? Why isn't it in, or why isn't it not in Trials at the time? And it should have been, because they were the pinnacle parts of the game.
Yeah, my bad. I got heated.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it's funny because I've been sitting here the whole time going, when you say enhanced perks, what do you mean enhanced perks? Because I honestly spent very little time in the Dreaming City and have done basically none of the raids. So I'm looking up, the enhanced hand cannon, the enhanced, like I said, hand cannons, bows, the enhanced, basically any of the perks you already have, throw enhanced in the front of that. I was like, I have nothing that's enhanced, which would make sense because I haven't done those activities.
They're quite easy to miss as well. So if you've got Dreaming City armor pieces, check, because I think it's basically the third perk on the middle row, where it says, what gun that it affects. I'll send you a picture, Parody.
You have 3 tiers for these perks, right? Let's say you have kinetic weapon targeting, right? So you have better headshot acquisition with any kinetic weapon, right?
Right.
Well, now you go to hand cannon targeting. Well, now you've restricted it even further to just hand cannons. So now the head-seeking perk is even better, right? And now you have enhanced hand cannon targeting, and now it's a freaking laser beam on the head, right?
Yeah. Now
So-
it's even more improved.
Yeah, exactly. So there's 3 tiers, enhanced being the highest of the tiers.
Yeah, which is why I literally just had to look it up, and I found a Reddit post going, here are the enhanced armor perks, because I was like, I'm not familiar with these. I'm sitting here going, am I missing something? And yeah, I am missing something because I have none of them because I haven't done those activities. So
It is a very noticeable difference. Like if you have enhanced auto rifle targeting or something similar to that, that auto rifle is really, really stable, or enhanced auto rifle stability. Sorry. It is a noticeable difference. This is not a small increment by any means.
yeah, because I definitely, like I said, I've got a little bit of it of Dreaming City armor, but I don't look at it that hard because that's usually not the stuff I'm looking for, and it usually doesn't come with the roles I'm looking to use elsewhere in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I didn't even know these were things. I didn't even know this is what I was missing because I had no idea they were even there.
No, and the top tier players know this. And that's why they're constantly raiding. That's why they're going in the Dreaming City and getting the Reverie Dawn sets, because they want all the enhanced perks. And I believe I saw a video a couple of months back by Entash saying, why is this not in the game in other areas? And all other armor is redundant to me. Why am I, worrying about what?
Because it's one of the rewards. It's one of the rewards for doing raids. It's
No. He was saying like the general armor. Why is the general armor in the game with the fact of I don't want it? So if the spider drops me a tangled web stuff, I don't want that.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want the stuff that Saladin's selling. I don't want the stuff that Zavala's selling. I don't want any of the world drops. I just want the enhanced stuff. And to get the enhanced stuff, I've got to go and do the raid, or I've got to be in the Dreaming City. And he was making an argument for the fact of it should be in other places in the game. But I think he was right. Top tier players know that it's in the game, and that's all they're seeking is the enhanced stuff. Whereas just general players who haven't got the time to keep doing all these other things are just getting the worldly drops and making do with what they've got.
And if we're being honest, I don't even think it should be in the Dreaming City. Right now, that's their way of letting the average player that doesn't do raids and whatnot get access to it, right? Yeah. But I believe it should only be like the top tier things like raids and whatnot, right? Because when you get it from a raid, you've earned it. When you get it from the Dreaming City, you just killed something.
Okay, yeah, no, okay, I'll go with that. So yeah, it shouldn't be obtainable through things like that. But maybe if you do Nightfalls, the drops that you get. Worldly drops that you can get from that. So if you get an armor piece from that, it should be able to drop with an enhanced perk on it for just a general piece of equipment. And
I could see that.
Same with,
I could see that, but I don't think that a Nightfall is like. I mean, maybe it's just my level of player, right? I don't consider Nightfall to be like a top tier thing, like it was in D1. In D1, when you did a Nightfall, it was hard. Yeah. Right? It was a challenge that when you got something from the Nightfall, you're like, woo, yeah, I did the Nightfall this week. Finally, that's over and done with. Right. But the Nightfalls these days, especially with that 5 of Swords, right? I can under level myself by I think we go to 64 on average, 64 light level. We take ourselves down. And the only advantage we give ourselves is maybe heavyweight, right? And then you run through it, right? It's so easy these days, man. You can make it harder, yes, but you could also make it extremely easy. And that's why I think that shouldn't be considered a top tier event. I think the raid should be the only place where you get top tier things or competitive PvP, right? Because all the pros are going to be in there. So competitive PvP or raids, I think is where you should be able to get the only enhanced armor sets.
No, I disagree with you on that, because a point that I'm going to bring up later is it shouldn't be just for top tier stuff. If you play the game and you've only got a certain amount of time to play the game, it should be something that drops in the game for you. So the Dreaming City is Bungie's way of saying, yes, you can still get this enhanced stuff, which is fair enough. You don't have to go and do your raid. But why should it just be for those elite players?
Because it gives us a sense of reward. It's pride, it's accomplishment.
But you get the armor. If you're walking around with a full set of raid armor, then yes, we could acknowledge that your accomplishment is to have done the raid.
Yeah, but at that point in time, if anybody can get it, it's just cosmetic at that point.
But you've done that. You've done the raid, and you've got your acknowledgement. Why deny other players who can't spend the amount of time that you have spent doing the raid and can only log on for a couple of hours a night and do what they can do?
But that's why I also
other
said
players?
PvP, comp PvP, right? You complete
what
a
happens
match, win, lose, or draw, you get a piece of armor, right?
Parody and I are not top tier Crucible players.
You don't need to be.
We enjoy
to play
Crucible.
comp.
We enjoy Crucible. We
Mm.
go into combat every now and then to do certain things,
Right.
but we're not going to be able to get armor from that.
Why not?
We'd rather.
You get armor drops all the time. What I'm saying is, as far as that goes, right? Because you get drops, even if you lose, you get drops in comp, right?
Okay.
Now, I would say the better your streak is, maybe it ups the percentage of you getting a better drop, right? But you still have a chance if you're playing comp. You see what I'm saying? You still have, if you're playing comp PvP, you
incentivize
still have
some people to go into comp. Yes.
and that's
But
something
why isn't
that
it
only
another
takes like,
avenue. Why is it just those two select things that you're saying?
because you got one for PvP avenue and one for PvE avenue, right?
Yeah. Looking, and have it be a top tier or an end game activity, because comp is as close as we have to an end game activity right now in PvP since Trials is gone.
Mhm.
So I see what you're saying. So put it at that top level. I mean, in that case, heck, I mean, if Gambit didn't have its own armor set, or heck, throw it on the Gambit armor as well and make it more applicable outside of Gambit. Because
Gambit could be considered top tier. If you're going against all these tryhards.
Yeah, because Gambit,
They should
Oh
be
no,
something
not Gambit.
Prime.
Gambit Prime now. Gambit Prime would be
right. Sorry, yeah. Gambit Prime and or the Reckoning.
Right.
Say, because I think didn't Bungie say the Reckoning is our end game activity for Season of the Drifter for PvE. Obviously, the raids are still there, but this is the new end game activity.
Right.
So, dump into the armor there. So at least maybe while I'm building my Gambit Prime armor sets, with the special Gambit only perks on it, also give me, hey, you have a chance to get an Ancient Apocalypse drop with maybe one of these enhanced perks on it, since that is your stated your end game activity. Give me at least a chance of an end game reward from it as well that I can use outside of that specific activity. Because that's, while I'm sort of excited about the Gambit armor, or again Gambit Prime armor, I can't really. It doesn't do me any good outside of there. So it's like, why would I use this anywhere else? And I get that it's that's the sort of the point of it, but it would be nice to have at least some perks that are more applicable in the game at large.
Yeah, but see, it goes back to the whole bragging rights, right? So I don't know how to describe it. You gotta have a reason to feel good about the game. I think, especially if you invest a lot of time, possibly money into it, right? You gotta have a reason to be able to show off to people that, hey, I'm this good because I have this armor and it gives me an edge, right? So we have pinnacle weapons, right? In PvP, for example, right? You got Luna's Howl and you have Not Forgot, right? There's no other gun, arguably, in the game that's as good as those in PvP, right? And when you come across those guns in PvP, you're gonna get wrecked if you don't have one, unless your skill level is higher than those that have the gun. It's possible, not plausible, right? So when you see somebody with a Luna's Howl or Not Forgotten, these guys are good. These guys have a high skill level, right? And that's the kind of feeling people should have when you see raid armor, right? I have raid armor. That I have enhanced something. Armor gives me a bonus that yours doesn't give you because I've invested time and I've done things, that in order to earn this edge in the game, right? Or I've played PvP on comp to earn this edge in the game, right? If you're just getting the same thing I'm getting just by killing stuff in the Dreaming City, it takes away from that prestige, right? And at that point in time, this armor that I have in the raid becomes purely just cosmetic. You see what I'm saying? I no longer have an edge because you can get the same thing I have just by playing the Dreaming City. And the only difference is mine looks different, right? So yes, I've done the raid, but I don't have an edge.
But you're talking about getting an edge in PvP, aren't you?
I'm talking about just an edge in general, right? Because if you have, hand cannon targeting, that gives you an edge in PvE and PvP, right? So it's just an armor edge, period, right? Because I've done X activity to earn this edge in whatever I choose to have it in, right? And the fact that you can get the same kind of thing that I have after working hard to achieve what I have just by going in the Dreaming City and killing a couple things, well, that takes away from it. That takes away from the prestige. It's like, well, then why do the raid, right?
What happens if I haven't got time to do the raid, but I've got time to do my Dreaming City stuff, and I get that gear? Why is it not fair for me to be wearing similar gear with enhanced perks and going against you in PvP? Why do you get the advantage because you've had more time to go and get that armor? Do you see what I'm saying? Why is it a privilege? Yes. Why is that a privilege?
Because I put the time in. I understand you don't have...
But I've put the time in going to the Dreaming City and doing my stuff there. I should be rewarded with something. And if I've got the enhanced perks and I wear that into PvP and I'm versus you, that's a fair advantage as far as I'm concerned. You've got your raid gear. I can see you've got raid gear. I've got Reverie Dawn stuff. All my stuff's enhanced. We're on an even footing with regards weapons and armor to an extent, but then it just comes down to skill.
That's exactly my point. I've done a more difficult activity to get the same gear that you've gotten just by running around killing stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, the prestige of it.
PvP always comes down to skill.
Well, it's more the prestige. The skill should be a factor, I think, right? Because skill should be a factor in getting something that gives you prestige. Prestige is the ultimate thing. See what I'm saying? And having a skill level and having a skill level involved to get that piece of armor that gives you an edge, which, you know, gives you the prestige that people recognize. That's what I'm talking about, right? I've done this really, really hard thing to get this armor set that I want that has enhanced whatever. And you haven't done the thing that I have, and you have the same perks on your armor, right? That takes away from the prestige of somebody that's earned it. So at this point, the only edge that you can get, right? So you can get Luna's Howl Not Forgotten. That gives you an edge in PvP, huge edge, right? Not everybody can get those. So why can't that be the same thing for armor? You know, for certain kinds of armor, for certain perks on armor, right? That translate to something outside the raid. You know what I mean? Because you get cool stuff that's, you know, that helps you within the raid. Yeah, cool. Yeah. But I want something that's going to translate outside of the raid. You know, I want whenever you see my armor that I'm wearing, you know, holy crap, this guy's most likely got X, Y, and Z on his armor. I better watch out. You know? Or if I'm on your team, you're like, hey, this guy knows what's up. I'm going to follow him around. You know? Whatever. Something. You know what I mean? If you can get it without putting in the same amount of effort or skill that I have, it takes away from the prestige. It takes away from the pride of earning said armor, I guess is my big complaint about it.
I mean, it sounds like we're sort of both arguing from the opposite ends of the same thing. Is we want to play in, you know, an end game activity. We want to get armor with a certain perks that we want to be applicable outside of that activity. I want to go play my Gambit Prime and my Reckoning grind, and I want something that I can use outside of the Gambit world. You want to play the raids and get something that's applicable outside the raid. And I know, the enhanced perks are one thing, but actually have more perks that are applicable in Destiny at large than just, here's my raid gear that I can use in the raid, but I wanted to also use it somewhere else too, just so it's not, quite not useless, but it's just more applicable. If I want to go jump into any activity, I want to play what I want to play. Give me a way to feel more powerful in whatever that is. I've done it. I've gone and I've done this grind, whether it be Gambit Prime Reckoning, whether it be the raid, whether it be a comp playlist. I've done that grind.
Or
give me a reward. Let me use it exactly. Or Iron Banner. Give me that reward. Let me use it wherever I want to use it. Sure, it might be best in the thing it came from, but it'll also be pretty good anywhere else.
But I think that's what we were saying. It's fair if it is in those end-game activities, but unfortunately it's only in two activities. One of them is end-game, one of them is normal game. So I see at the moment that it's fair because there's nothing in the other game modes.
Fair isn't the point. Yes, it's fair. I agree to that. But my complaint isn't the fact that it's fair. It's fair. My complaint is it takes away from the prestige, right? You're getting something that should be considered high level for doing something that doesn't deserve that high level gear.
No, because if I did a raid, I'd get the raid gear and you could see that it's raid gear. At the moment,
but that's just cosmetic. That's what I'm saying. That's just cosmetic. It doesn't. I don't get anything from the raid that you can't get from the Dreaming City. It's just cosmetic, right? Now, unless let's say for example, you have a full set of raid gear, right, or 4 pieces of raid gear, so that you can equip an exotic. Let's say 4 pieces of raid gear you wear, right? And if you have these 4 pieces, now every single special weapon you have does an extra 5% damage, you know? Something like that, right? Something that you have to earn that gives you the prestige and also gives you an edge in whatever activity that you want, and hopefully could transfer outside of that activity. But at the very least,
I think-
give you an advantage within that activity, you know?
I think, to be honest, Bungie are kind of slightly moving down that route of the original Division game, whereas if you wear certain gear sets, it will give you perks in certain other areas. So I think that they are they've seen that and they've gone, no, this is interesting, maybe we could do this. And they're experimenting with the Gambit Prime stuff.
Yeah.
So I see where you're going with that.
And I like that. You know, if I'm wearing a full set of Gambit Prime armor and we're doing like a Nightfall, you can look at me and say, hey, that guy's done tier 3 Gambit and Reckoning. That guy knows what's up, right? I'd be stupid because I'm wearing it outside of Gambit Prime. What? Right? But I've got that recognition immediately, you know? And if I go into Gambit Prime or whatever, or Gambit or whatever, and I'm on the opposite team and I see that you're wearing all this cool armor and I'm wearing like Dreaming City stuff, it's a visual way of saying, uh-oh, I better shape up or I'm going to get torn up with these guys, you know?
Slightly touching on the Luna's Howl and the Not Forgotten. You were saying it's a high skill reward. Okay, so those high skill players, I don't understand how those high skill players are then matched against me in quick play. How does that work? Because they should be higher skill than me. They should not be anywhere near me. I should not be getting killed by that item. How does that work?
Because there's not enough people at your level. So they're putting people to the closest level to you.
Do you see how that's unfair? How am I then meant to compete against somebody that's obtained those weapons?
Okay. Let me bring another game into question, right? So years and years ago, Smash Brothers came out for the first platform, the Nintendo 64, right? My best friend, he's like, hey, come check this game out or whatever. It's great. I've been playing it. You know, I think you'll like it, right? So I start playing this game. He completely wipes the floor with me, right? Completely. I'm just done, right? So I go and get that game and I start playing myself and I start getting better at the game. And since I, you know, got better at the game to date, I've lost maybe on 2 hands, you know, matches in all these years playing all these different Smash Brothers games, right? And the reason I bring this up, right, is because by playing against people that are better than you, you become better, right? So he completely wiped the floor with me. And he was really the only person I could play that game with because he and I, at least in my circle of friends, were the only ones that had the game. So he had a skill advantage, but I still enjoyed doing it. So by playing against him, I rose to his skill level, right? Is it unfair? Of course. It's always going to be unfair. I mean, you're kicking a kid on a tricycle, right? It's going to be unfair until that kid grows up and comes back and hits you with the tricycle. That's just how it is, you know? And I get what you're saying. But if you play with high skill players, you're going to get better by default. It might take a while, but you're going to get better, you know, unless you're just a complete, you know, brick, right? And you don't pay attention to how they're flanking you or to what weapons they're using or how they're using the weapons, or the fact that if you turn a corner, a warlock is above you 90% of the time instead of eye to eye, right? You're going to pick up on these tricks and you're going to start to mimic them and you're going to, you know, grow in your own the way that they grew on their own, right? It's a cycle, man. So in the beginning, yeah, it's unfair. It sucks.
I can't just run straight down the hallway and shoot my auto rifle at the red dot that's in front of me.
Sure, you can.
But that's what I like doing.
It's probably not going to work out for you.
That's my issue.
If you've got ricochet rounds, it will.
Yeah.
Bring that hard light out. It'll be good times. Titans don't believe in reloading.
You're not wrong, but if you start spraying and praying down a hallway with a hard light, and then you stop firing, they're going to know that you're reloading, right? So they're going to turn the corner and pop you 2 or 3 times with a Lunar Howl or Not Forgotten, and then you're done, right?
Anyway, I think we should move on because that's probably a topic for another time. We'll bring that up again, the Lunar Howl and the Not Forgotten.
Okay.
Yeah, although before we move on from that just for a second, you know, again, going through the, you know, the Thorn quest this week, when, you know, I finally got my Thorn and I got my Allegiance quest for the Drifter done. You know, a big part of that was, you know, grab your, in my case, it was the Ikelos hand cannon, jump into the comp playlist because the kills there, you know, it was a lot quicker to get through that in comp than it was in quick play. Comp was actually sort of like a baby quick play, you know, or I don't know. I mean, it was a much less sweaty experience. It actually felt a little calmer because it's only 4v4, And again, because of the number of people doing their Thorn quests, there were lots of people running around with their various void hand cannons. And I haven't had so much fun in a, they were still competitive matches. Like, I think I can count maybe, once or twice of the, 30 or 40 matches I played to get through it, that that either our team wiped the floor with the other team or we just got destroyed by the other team. Every single match, it was close. The team that won, it wasn't, usually it was by one game, maybe 2 games. It was never like 3 and out, 4 and out, whatever you play to, and just an out. So it was kind of nice to have an actually like a truly competitive, playlist for a moment.
Isn't the Luna's Howl void?
No, I think it's solar.
I have no idea. You're asking the wrong people, buddy. I was in here looking. I had a Kindled Orchid, and then I had the Ikelos. And the Kindled Orchid was fun for a while, but that Ikelos hand cannon hits like a truck. So I switched to that thing and had much more success with it. But yeah, but the playlist, like I said, Night Demon, I know you've gone through it, and Respawn, I don't know if you've touched either comp or the Thorn Quest, but it was just a little more. It felt a little slower just because some of it was the different game types, and some of it was just it's only 4-on-4, so there's just less people on these maps. It just felt again I'm not being rushed and hard scoped and sniped. Like the moment I enter a game, it actually felt like the matchmaking was kind of working, and they were all competitive matches, which was a nice change of pace.
Right. Yeah, and you're right. It is solar, by the way. I remember it. It is in fact solar. I was wondering because you said it wasn't too sweaty and everything like that. I was like, but wait, if Luna's Howl is void, then it's going to be even more sweaty, right? Because everybody's using the Luna's Howl. But yeah, no, it definitely it was fun. I'm more of a fan of the Forge hand cannon because I have 2 different Forge hand cannons and they both have really, really good rolls on them that I really, really like. So I actually devastate with those. So those are really fun guns for me. And I had a good time, with it. And now good time is gone because I finished.
Have you managed to get your Thorn yet, Respawn?
Not quite. I haven't gone through all the steps. I just did I just did a few of the steps so far because honestly, I don't really want the Thorn, because I knew as soon as they announced the Thorn, everyone's all excited about it. And I was having the conversation with Parody earlier, and I was like, as soon as they announced the Thorn, I knew they were going to mess with it. They have to, right? I knew they were going to mess with it, and I was really, really hoping that it would still retain its initial 2-tap potential. And people were like, oh, well, it can 2-tap. Asterisk, you have to pick up the little green orb. Cool. Right. So let's say, for example, my example was you're in PvP. You pop somebody with the orb, and he's not the only person that's there, right? So some guy around the corner saw him get popped and sees that orb there. He's going to know you're coming for that orb, and he's going to be waiting for you with a shotgun, with whatever. As soon as you come around that orb, as soon as you come around the corner, boom, dead. Right?
You don't have to literally pick it up. You can be within a certain range of it and it will draw to you.
Still,
even if
you're going to be close enough to it that they know you're going to be there.
But if you walk towards it and it starts coming towards you, you can back off again and it will follow you. So you don't necessarily have to be closed off.
I get that. But still, as soon as that orb either gets picked up or moves, I know you're there. I jump around a corner, I shoot, I aim down, boom, you're dead. Or like he was talking about earlier in his example, right? You take it into a PvE activity like the Forge or Gambit, right? The orbs are there amidst the mob of enemies that if you try to get them, they're gonna kill you, right? So I don't use the word hate a lot, but when I use it, I mean it. And I hate the fact that they changed it in this manner. Right? They should have just given it its 2-tap potential that it had before, right? And given it something else like a bigger magazine size or faster reload or something else. Literally anything else, right? Besides what they did. I'm not a fan of it.
I honestly think this is a good change for it.
I mean, this is why we have this discussion. I disagree. I don't like the fact that you have to go chase down an orb in order to get your 2-tap potential, right? It's 3-tap until you get the orb and then it's 2-tap. I'm not a fan of that. So I'm not overly anxious to get a gun that I know I'm not going to use. It's going to be one of my exotics I just don't use, Well,
maybe for next week's podcast, you could get the gun, use it, and then come back and tell us whether your opinion stands or you've changed your opinion on it.
Yeah, fair enough. What were we talking about before you asked me if I had it?
We were going to move on to strengthening your core, the TWAB section about enhancement cores. So which one of you guys is going to take that?
This is the enhancement cores, so I'm going to complain about this for a bit.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So we can wander off for about a half an hour, 45 minutes, and come back, and then he should be about wrapping up, and the froth will have dissipated. He can wipe off the microphone, wipe down the walls.
This is actually going to be pretty quick because I'm not going to read this whole thing because everybody knows what Bungie's been saying repeatedly. They haven't changed their tune at all, right? And this is why I'm angry because Bungie's all like, "We want to hear your feedback. We want to make you happy. We want to make these changes and all this and that." Overwhelmingly, people have been saying, "Get rid of the enhancement course. Get rid of them." Right? As far as like leveling them up or whatever, right? Keep the enhancement course if you want to masterwork it. Great. That's fine. I don't mind that, right? But do like they did before. 10 cores, boom, enhanced, done. They should never have used that as a way for just leveling up the weapon, right? Bringing it up to light level. That is the worst decision they've made. And overwhelmingly, the community has said, get rid of them, right? Some people are trying to compromise by saying, if you don't want to get rid of them, then make them more accessible or whatever. But it's the same thing, right? You make them more accessible, then they're easier to get, and then you still use them to level up your weapon. It's not, okay, it's not the same thing as getting rid of them, right? Because then you have to put in some kind of effort for it. But the point that I'm trying to get at is Bungie's saying, oh, well, we're going to make more drops available, and we've heard your, complaints, and we've listened to your cries and, all this other stuff, and we're going to make it more available in the game, and we're going to have things that are going to drop more of them and this and that and the other, right? But that's not what the community has been saying, at least not overwhelmingly, right? That's been kind of the compromise via the community. What the community wants is to get rid of enhancement cores for infusions. They weren't there before. They shouldn't be there now, right?
Have you read what the Destiny dev team have said on the This Week at Bungie? They've said that the goal of infusion systems is to create an impactful feeling of progression when you increase the power of an item that you enjoy using. An infusion system with no scarcity around the material would diminish this impact.
But it wouldn't.
So to that end,
it wouldn't though.
We tapped into the material with the inherent scarceness of enhancement cores to use as one of these keystone materials for the process.
It wouldn't, because if you think about it,
I think they've, like you were saying, they've completely missed the point.
No, because enhancement cores should be a part of this, right? So what they should do, right? This is what should happen. Enhancement cores should go away, right? And if you want to bring your weapons light level up, it should just be glimmering materials the way it's always been, right? As far as masterworking goes, you have two avenues you can take. It can go back to the whole shards, your weapon is masterworked, or they can go back to like a D1 type of system, right? Where the more you use the weapon, and this is the one I prefer, actually, right? Get rid of enhancement cores in general. The more that you use the weapon, the more experience you get when you use that weapon. And if you use it a lot, that little experience bar goes up. Like, remember D1, how all your slots were locked. And the more you use it, the more slots you unlock, right? Kind of the same concept, but it increases that experience bar for your masterwork, right? By definition, master worked. That should be how good you are with this weapon, right? How often you've used this weapon. I can masterwork a weapon that I've never used, right? It's possible, seems kind of silly, but you can do it, right? I think they should change the masterwork system to either 10 and you're done, or an experience-based masterworking system. That's the way I think, right?
Well, if you think about it now, when you get an exotic weapon and you get the masterwork to drop from a chest or whatever activity you're doing, and you get the masterwork to drop, what do you have to do to masterwork it? Play the goddamn game and use the weapon.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
They've built that system into the game, but it's only for exotics.
Yeah, if they could do that for just any legendary in general, let's say all auto rifles, you got to do the same thing for every auto rifle that you get in masterwork. All hand cannons, same thing. All whatever, right? I know each exotic you have to do a different thing, right? Whether it's multiple hand cannons or whatever, right? I understand for each separate exotic weapon, it has to do its own thing. But they can just generalize it for weapon types for legendaries. That's a third avenue I didn't even think of, right? But they have three different avenues, two of which are built into the game, right? So you have the 10 masterwork core, and then you're done. and then you have the whole dropping Masterwork cores, and you got to do stuff to level it up. They don't have the experience because that was back in D1. They would have to do a whole new implementation for that, and I get it. But still, there's 3 avenues they could take that don't involve you having to use enhancement cores for literally everything. You know?
No, I would totally agree with you, and I think everybody in the community is the same.
Yeah, and that's my big complaint. As Bungie says they're listening. No, you're not, dude. We don't want cores more accessible. We want them gone or severely mitigated to only one aspect of the weapon and or armor, right? I don't give a damn if Spider's going to give out stuff and maybe, for example, this person could give you an enhancement course. I don't care about getting more of them. I care about not needing them, right? Or needing them to a lesser degree, because that's the kind of farm that I don't enjoy in any way.
Yeah, and and something you guys haven't touched on. Have you masterworked a single armor piece? Have you even considered masterworking an armor piece?
No,
I mean,
not even one.
I'm the same way. I have not even. I mean, I've had a brief thought of, a little more, defense would be nice in certain situations, but why? It's not.
It's not even defense, though. It's not defense.
Right.
It's
elemental resistance. I mean, again, there are a couple things where in like in the Reckoning or Gambit Prime, I'm like, hey, I would love to build out an armor set where I say, hey, this is my solar set, this is my void set, this is my arc set. If I'm going in and I know I'm going to be fighting, one of these things, let me throw that on. It maybe gives me that little extra second to pop my bubble, or I get that res on the Reckoning.
But it shouldn't be limited to that,
right?
It shouldn't be limited to just 3 elements. I should be able to increase whatever I want.
Right. I mean, and that's sort of my problem. It's like, and Night Demon, you haven't chimed in, but I'm assuming you've masterworked no armor either, because there's not even a point to, the elemental resistance. I don't look at that and go, oh, that's the thing I need. Now in Destiny 1, I masterworked a bunch of armor just because I was like, hey, let me get some elemental resistance again, so I can sort of build those sets out.
Right.
But there's just no point in it in D2, especially with my cores. I've had between 30 and 40 cores for about the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, because I'll use a couple and then, and it's basically just, I sort of hold on to them until we do the light level grind again, until I try to infuse things. I try to, even with my armor now, I'm not infusing armor.
And every time light level goes up, they get depleted. They're gone.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm basically doing my armor rise now by going, okay, this is a higher armor piece. The rolls suck. I don't want this armor piece. Let me wait until I get the armor piece of something I already have, so I can infuse it just for Glimmer, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Like I haven't been infusing like things, or I haven't been infusing weapons. Heck, I've been going to my collections and pulling guns out of there, going,
yeah, in armor.
Why infuse, especially exotics? Why infuse this up to the current level when I can pull it out close enough and have it be useful? I mean, I didn't have an Ikelos hand cannon laying around.
Yeah, I
went to my collection, pulled one out of there, and said, hey, this will work. It's close-ish to where I am versus the 200, 300, 400, whatever level it'd be sitting at from whenever it dropped originally.
It's just like, don't patronize us, Destiny. You say you hear us, show us that you hear us, right?
Right. Well, and that's the thing too. I think they're, again, just like everything else in the game, they're trying to balance everybody from the streamers playing 90 hours a day, and then people, people like us who don't have all that time to play. It was really interesting listening to the Destiny community podcast over the last couple of weeks. Pope Bear is sort of the guy who's, he has a real life job. He has a real life to go to. He can't play all day, every day. He doesn't have 3 characters that he's, rated with 16 times every week. His experience is very different from the folks who are streaming all day, every day. Their experience, it's, and trying to bridge that gap. But I think, Destiny is, there's a competitive place to it, obviously. I mean, there's people out there like Glad and Dado and all these folks who are going to do, let's run the raid with all Rat Kings. We're going to, get every last little morsel out of this game. But I think the vast majority of people, and honestly, if now the Bungie has to make money off this game, you're gonna need some more people to play it. Catering a little bit to, or at least having that eye to people who don't play it professionally or don't stream it professionally. You need a greater number of people, more so than you need to cater to those streamers. Destiny, until you get dedicated servers, it's never going to be an esports game. It's never going to be a prime time thing where you can put in the spotlight and say, hey, this is our esport Destiny team.
It's never going to be. It never has been.
Until exactly.
You never see this.
Right, because it's still peer-to-peer servers. Until you have dedicated servers, that's never going to happen. So while that while that core is going to be there, and obviously they're the they're the smallest, most vocal part of the community because that's who we all follow and get our information from. Right. We all watch the Houndishes and the Enkuches and everybody else and the Kami Cakes telling us what to do and where to do and what guns to get. Yeah. But there's, they're the, 0.001%. It's like looking at the numbers when they say, here's who's completed the raid. Here's who's even attempted the raid. It's always like, not even 1% of, the Destiny community. And even, I'm sure even if you then said, okay, here's the number of people who have played Destiny, and let's take out the number of people who didn't aren't at the max level, not max light, but who aren't level 50. Let's get rid of all the folks who bought the game and said, okay, played it for a weekend, it wasn't for me. Move that number. Okay, so maybe we're at what, 0.01% of people? It's still a very it's called end game content for a reason. And even not to bring it up hours in, not everybody's going to play that all the end game content. Night Demon and I and you all have. I'm sure well over 1,000 hours into this game at this point. Jesus. And, or, maybe double or triple that. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm at 1,000 something, 1,500 somewhere in there. And, I there's still end game activity I'm never going to play because I don't have those blocks of time or that, that setup to say where I've got 5 other people I can grab at a certain time and then not, spend 6 or 8 or 10 hours on this activity. I've got a couple hours here and there.
But this is another thing, right? Not to beat a dead horse repeatedly, even though that sounds like a great time. Anyway, so right now, after they're split from Activision, this is the time when you really, really need to show your community that you want to make them happy, right? And if we're all telling you to get rid of enhancement cores, and I'm bringing this up again, right? Because I was just looking over our talking points, and Demon was nice enough to just put a whole bunch of like people saying what they want inside our talking points. And just looking at like the first few of them, they're like, I don't want more chores to infuse the blank I got from doing other chores. Give us a way to, giving us a way to earn enhancement cores is just more chores, right? And it just kind of repeats on down the list, right? So if you really are listening, don't say we're listening. I don't care if you say you're listening. I want you to show me that you're listening by getting rid of enhancement cores and not giving us more crap to do to get more cores that we don't want.
I do have a confession, guys. I have masterworked some armor. I'm silly.
Yeah. No, I have masterworked armor, but it's dropped that way. I didn't put forth the effort to masterwork it.
I put it all on my arc set that I use for Gambit because I wanted the protection because I'm using that full arc subclass of punching and using Risk Runner, so I just wanted that extra buff of getting a bit more damage resistance from arc. So all the arc set that I've got, that's the only set. But again, that took quite a while to obtain and then masterwork it up because I had to get enough cores to do it.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my rant. I didn't expect it to be that long. I thought it was just going to be a quick one and done kind of thing, and then we turned it into this discussion. But
so every week, join us for Respawn Rants, and every week we'll pick a subject and let him rant on it. Going back to the this week at Bungie, they say that they're going to get rid of the scrapper bounties that can drop randomly through just playing the game, and you can now go to the gunsmith to collect those, and there'll be weekly and daily ones available. And that's starting at the next. Is that starting at the next reset?
That's I think that's starting at the season of opulence. I think they've said this is not going to happen this season. This is for the next season. This is a season of opulence.
Oh, okay.
So we're not even going to see this change.
Yeah. Speaking of beating a dead horse, once again, more ways to earn cores that we don't want. Hey, you can get the scrapper bounties once a week. Woohoo! I don't want them. Take them away.
They say that. Our hope is that this increased access and control over enhancement cores acquisition will help improve the balance of materials being earned versus materials being used. As always, we'll continue to monitor this, and they want your feedback. But I don't understand why they're moving those random drops that you can get in the world to the gunsmith. If they want people to have more enhancement cores, then why not both? Why are there not gunsmith bounties that you can get for enhancement cores and the random scrapper bounties?
Or what about this? What about just every week they just give you a package and it has enhancement cores? What if, right? The point is they're trying to make them more accessible.
But they need to.
We don't want them,
If they're going to keep them in the game, because I think that's what they're trying to impress on people. That
but why?
If they were going to take them away, but if they were going to take them away, they would have said they're going away in season of opulence, but they're not. They're insisting on keeping them in the game, regardless of what the community are screaming at them at the moment. So they need to make more ways to obtain these, especially for casual players, because the casual players are getting turned away by this. I mean, again, going back to my friend Seventh Scar, he's trying to build up his light. He works full time. He plays a couple of hours a night if he can get on. He's not going to be able to get up to 700 because he hasn't got the time. He hasn't got the patience to, go and do the spider bounties or go and get the ghosts on the Tangled Shore.
Or if he does, he can only do it on one character. Can't do it account wide.
No, but you've got to make the time and the effort to go to the Tangled Shore, do a bunch of activities, get those ghost shells, take them to the spider, buy the bounties, then you then have to go off-world and do other activities to get those, and you can get about 5 or 6 a week per character.
Right.
So we
all know this.
You can
this
get
isn't the issue.
like 15 things. But that is more than 2 hours worth of work, where he's now looking at it like, oh, I can play 1 game of Gambit, I can play 1 game of Crucible, I get 2 powerful rewards. If I do a couple of bounties in between that goes towards my Ikora thing.
Or
also goes towards my...
what's even worse these days, right? Or I can go play Division 2. Or I can go play, Red Dead Redemption. Or I can go play, fill in the blank, right? I can go play whatever else and get more accomplished in the same amount of time or more.
Yeah, but I understand that, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about people that are dedicated to playing Destiny and that want to stick with it, but Destiny are slowly turning those players away.
These people, yeah, exactly. These people are the ones saying we don't want cores. We don't want more access to cores. We just don't want the damn cores, right?
So last week, we went over how to get powerful rewards, and I did a list of what you could do weekly. So you can get up to about, is it 25 to 30 powerful engrams a week, wasn't it, Parody?
Yeah, somewhere around there. If you run around it, again, do your chore list on every planet. And honestly, one of the big things that turns me off, I'm still on an original Xbox. I don't have a 1S or a 1X or a 1 anything else. The loading times, just some of the loading times is going from planet to planet, or even some of the fast travel. I'm sitting here, waiting 10 or 15 seconds. Again, first world problem, gamer problems.
We need to start a GoFundMe for Parody to get a newer Xbox, everybody.
Just having to say, okay, I need to go to this planet, this planet, this planet. I'm sitting here. Again, I'm sure nothing wrong in this boat. I'm sitting here just watching the loading tree, watching my stupid ship in orbit. That's why I, put shaders on my ship, because I'm sitting here staring at the ship the whole time. Going between planet to planet, it's like you're spending half your game time. Again, if you are one of these folks getting on an hour or two every night, or a couple of times during the week to play, just the loading time. Like, I'm going to go to the tower. Let me go get a drink, go to the bathroom, come back. Oh, hey, now I'm finally in the tower. Let me go run around doing things there. Now let's go to the next thing. I mean, and again, I'm on Xbox. I know the folks on PC are sitting here, waiting with even the longer loading time for things like, Gambit Prime and Crucible and things where they just can't find people to play. Like, I know the comp, folks in the higher comp trees are having that problem, but even people just, with a smaller community are having the issue of, just loading times, waiting for match-made activities to happen. But just the loading times everywhere is a turnoff for running around all these 15 planets.
The reason I bring up what we listed last week to get those 25 or 30 powerful rewards per week, I don't understand why you can't get an enhancement core per powerful engram. Because let's say you get all 25 or even 30, depending on which week it is, that is roughly 2 weapons masterworked a week. With the amount of weapons that you have in your vault, that is minimal. And that is, if you're just being able to focus on one character. I don't understand why Masterworks don't drop with those powerful rewards, because that is an economy system that would work, is that you get a powerful reward, you get a prime engram, you get an enhancement core, and you think, okay, this is really worth doing these things, because I haven't got the time to go to Spider and grind out those bounties. But if I have, that's another avenue to pick up an extra one per week. Do you see what I'm saying? If they added that into the game, with the scrapper bounties, with the gunsmith bounties, I think flood people with the amount of time that you can get enhancement cores. So the casuals can play the game and get the enhancement cores and actually enjoy playing the game and leveling up and masterworking their gear, masterworking their weapons. It would...
Yeah, but if you're going to go that far, you need to add, and this is my opinion, right? If you're going to go that far, and add enhancement cores to the whole, powerful engrams or whatever, right? Because they have different levels of powerful engrams, right? One of them gives you 1 light level, one of them gives you 5 light level, right? They have different levels of powerful engrams. I think the number of enhancement cores you get should also change with the power of said powerful engram.
I see what you mean, but you may then completely flood the system with that. Whereas I'm saying not everybody's going to be able to get all 25, 30 powerful engrams a week. You could possibly only get about 10 a week, but then that way you've got 10 enhancement cores, and you're thinking, oh, if I do 10 next week, that's at least that weapon that I really like using, masterworked, and slightly a piece of armor, because you've got Gambit Prime now with all that armor. You want to level that up to get a bit more damage resistance against elements, which is worth doing. And something I didn't write on the notes this week, I've got 2 misfits. They're both exactly the same role, but the masterwork on them is different. I've got one for stability, one for range. Now, if I want to masterwork them up, it's going to take like about 15 cores per gun. So that's 30 cores I'll be down. And I just want to test it out. I want to see which one's the best, and I can't do that because that's going to cost me 30 cores. Or yes, I'll get like...
No, way more than 30, man. Way more than 30.
Well, let's just call it 30 at the moment.
But it's not. If it was 30, that would be one thing. It's more than 30. That's why people hate the fact that we have to use cores for this, because it's just so damn many, right?
The one that I don't like, or the one that isn't working for me, if I dismantle it, I'll get half the amount of cores back. That's fine. But then I'm down cores. But with the way that they masterwork the weapons in year 1, whereas you masterworked it, and if you wanted to re-roll it, I think it was 3 or 5 masterwork cores to re-roll it to get that specific thing. I don't understand why it's not like that now. You masterwork it, maybe you can re-roll that masterwork perk again. Yeah. That worked, and I think people enjoyed that because you might want handling on the gun, you might want range, you might want stability, depending on your playstyle and how you use that gun. I wouldn't mind that if it was available on those guns, but I've got 2 identical guns that I want to try and use, and I want to masterwork them to see, I want to be able to generate orbs.
I had that same problem with my Kindled Orchids, man. Remember how I told you I have 2? They're both for different situations. I had to spend all the time and cores to masterwork both of them because they were both good, and they were both good for different reasons, right? And it was too many, man, because with all these new weapons that we were getting, especially when the Forge first opened up, there's a lot of stuff you want to masterwork, and there's a lot of new things that, different roles, and you want to see how they work, just like what you're talking about right there. It's just too many. It really is just too many. Masterwork cores should be used like a 10 and done, right? Not however many you have to use now, and not for light level infusion.
I honestly don't mind. Anyway. I honestly don't mind the light level infusion. I honestly don't mind the masterworking if the masterwork cores or the enhancement cores were flooded into the system. Because, I'm looking at my vault now and I've got maybe 40 primary weapons, and I'm counting probably 10 of those, excluding exotics, are masterworked. And then I've got hundreds of energy weapons, and again, probably only about 6, 7 are masterworked. I'd like to masterwork some of them, and try those out, but I haven't got the masterwork cores. And I play the game a bit more regularly than just a casual player, but I'm enhancement cores poor.
And you're proving my point. You're just making my point that much more valid.
No, I agree with you with your point. Either take them away or you flood the system.
And the reason I don't want the system flooded, and this is my big reason why I don't want the system flooded with them. I want them to go away, right? So let's say you want to do something. I want to do a Nightfall. I want to do the raid. I want to do fill in the blank, right? But I want to use this weapon to do it. Well, before I can use this weapon to do that, I have to go do all of these other things first before I can do the thing that I want to do. I have to do chores. I have to do other nonsense that I would rather not do to get these cores, when I would rather just make my weapon the way I want it and then take it into said activity, right? That's how it should be. I want to get to playing the game that I want to play. I don't want to be forced, and you are being forced to go do things that you necessarily don't, or that you don't necessarily want to do, so that you can make your weapon and or armor the way that you want it to be to participate in the one activity that you actually do want to do. See what I'm saying? That's why they shouldn't be there, because you're actually inhibiting people enjoying doing what they want to do because they have to go do all the side crap they don't want to do. You know? Hey, I want to go home and play video games, but hey, I got to go to the grocery store. I got to change the tires on my car. I got to pick up, the kids from school. I got to take the dog on a walk. I got to, whatever, right? I have to do all of these things before I can play my game. Well, going to get enhancement cores is the virtual version of doing all that stuff you don't want to do before you can do the thing you want to do, right? And that's why I think they should go away, or at least minimize. Because if you flood the system, you still have to go do that stuff, right? You still have to go out of your way.
No, but what I'm saying is put it in the stuff that people are actually doing. So you do your 3 strikes, you get your alpha engram, you get an enhancement core. You do your daily, you get an enhancement core. It should be that rich in the system. If that's how Bungie want people to progress, give 1 per thing, people will have enough. I think the problem is that you've got YouTubers and streamers that have played the game constantly and they're dismantling weapons and things that they don't want from when they've done raids loads of times. And you've got those curated roles from the drops in the raid. You dismantle it, you get maybe 1 or 2 cores. They're building up their cores and they've got like 200-300 just sitting there. I think I did hear somebody on the Destiny Community podcast say that they've got about 800 cores just sitting in their inventory and they just don't use them. You've got people like that, and then you've got the poor people. I don't think Bungie are seeing it from the poor people or the people that play their game on just an average basis.
Your point is valid. I'm not conceding your point, right? That is a way to do it. And if we have to negotiate, right? And I know this sounds stupid, right? Because back in the day, when you got a game, that was it. There was no changing it. You went and got Final Fantasy VII. That's it. You can't tell the dev, hey, I want to add this sword, or hey, I think this look is stupid. Get rid of it. Or hey, I want access to more characters. You can't. Back in the day, you couldn't change a game. The game was the way it is now. But now we're used to being able to say what we want, right? And it is kind of an unfortunate side effect that we are now, quote unquote, spoiled when it comes to these kinds of things, right? And we shouldn't have to negotiate with a developer to go backwards, right? Because that's essentially what we're doing. We're trying to get rid of the enhancement cores, or trying to make it so that you just use 10 to masterwork your weapon and that's it, right? So we're essentially going backwards to something that they have already had that we were okay with from a system that they have in place that nobody likes. And we're having to beg them for it, right? So if we have to negotiate or we have to compromise, your solution, fine, I get it, great. Flood the system, or not flood the system, but, engross the market with enhancement cores. But I don't think we should have to do that. I think they should just go away, at least from the bigger aspects. If they left the enhancement cores as rare as they are now, and we only had to use them 10 at a time to masterwork a weapon, I would be 100% okay with that, right? Because there is still some kind of chores involved there, but it's not as extensive as it is now. That would be another compromise, right? But we shouldn't have to compromise, especially when the devs are actively changing the game because they're, quote unquote, listening to our feedback. They want to hear from us. They understand what we want. They're trying to, fill in the blank, X, Y, Z, whatever, right? If they are, in fact, willing to do that, then give us what we want. We don't want to compromise. We want them gone.
Yeah. So I was just looking up. I was trying to find, numbers because again, I've masterworked a handful of things and I don't remember how many resources it took. So I found a Reddit post, again, we'll link in the show notes, about someone who put together a list. Let me give due credit here. Honestly, Halo 1388 put together this list of, in Forsaken, starting in Forsaken, it's now going to cost you 10,000 Glimmer, 27 Legendary Shards, and 17 Masterwork Cores to masterwork one weapon. So that's 17 cores, 27 shards, 10,000 Glimmer. Glimmer, fairly easy to come by. Legendary shards, again, depending how you spent them. And
does that include incremental light level, or just one to get him max light level?
That's just taking your tier one. So you get a weapon tier 1 drop.
Okay.
Tier 1 Masterwork.
Okay.
Tier 2 is 2,500 Glimmer. Tier 3, 2,500 Glimmer and a Shard. Tier 4, 2,500 Glimmer, a Shard and a Core. Tier 5, same Glimmer, 2 Shards, 1 Core.
Yeah, no, I get all that.
Yeah.
I know to actually masterwork it, but you also have to get it to the light level that you want. And assuming you're light level 700 and you just bring it to the max light level without having to do all those incremental,
light level, but not masterwork level.
Right. That's additional cores.
You can bring the light level up. Yeah, the masterwork is not touching. Yeah, right. Unless you've got your two kindled orchids or your 2 misfits, and you say, let me put the one to the other in for just the glimmer. Yeah, you're still spending it on top of that infusion cost. But yeah, so I mean, like I said, like someone like me, I've got about 30-ish cores in my vault right now, or in my inventory right now. I could masterwork almost 2 guns.
almost.
I could do almost 2. Again, I've got like somewhere around 4,000 legendary shards, and Glimmer's easy to come by, but I could masterwork 2 guns, and I play this game.
Other people are going to have different opinions, but when you say that really makes me feel a little bit sad to hear that you have 30 cores and you can almost masterwork 2 weapons. It's just like
right. I can almost do 2 guns. I can almost pick two. I can carry 3 of them. 2 of them I can masterwork with what I have right now. Again, I could go do Spider. I could go run a bunch of things. Even then, at the end of the week, I could then maybe because how many cores did we say you could earn per week? 19 was like
say 25, 30.
Yeah, like 25, 30.
If you did the full amount of stuff,
right? So if you spend how many hours that's going to take you, and that's not a trivial amount of time to knock the stuff out. Even if you're going planet hopping and being as efficient as possible, 5, 6, 8, 10, whatever hours it is. You can basically, for that work, each week you can masterwork 1 weapon.
Yep.
Or 1 piece of armor, which again, this is a weapon breakdown. I assume the armor tiers are the same or very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do all that work for each week. You can masterwork 1 more weapon.
Yeah. I have 4.
That is, it's not worth it. It's not worth that amount of work to get 1 more weapon done.
Yeah, no, I have 4 cores in my inventory. 4. Not 30, not 400, 4.
I think somebody needs to go and visit the spider this week.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter because I already know what I want leveled up, right? And I have to bring my weapons up to my level. My favorite armor up to my level. So that's where all my cores are going, right? Is the stupid light level infusion. Not even the masterworking. All of my cores go to light level infusion. That's ridiculous.
Stop infusing things into different things.
Shut up.
Play Crucible until you get a higher level Crucible drop to then put into your Crucible armor.
I don't wear Crucible armor.
Well,
I wear Dreaming City and
well then go to the Dreaming City. I mean, honestly, that's
actually no.
That's how
all my people have raid armor now. That's right.
Yeah, I mean that's how I've got my light up on the armor side exclusively. Weapons, I haven't infused any weapons into once or twice when it was like, I need this weapon for this particular activity. Like, I need my Telescope to be 5.8 or to be 680. That's going to get infused. But everything else, all on the armor side, I'm like, hey, if you're a Gambit armor piece, I'm putting this Gambit armor piece into you. If you're a Vanguard armor piece, I'm putting the Vanguard armor into you. I'm just spending Glimmer on that infusion because I'm trying my hardest not to spend cores on infusing armor. There's a couple of armor pieces I have on my character that are 580 or 680 or 690 level that's just sitting there, and I'm just like, you're going to sit there because I'm going to wait until either, again, if it's a good roll, I'll keep it, but some of these rolls are just garbage on them. I refuse to use fastball on any arms. I know how far my
and that's a smart way to play. I don't deny that. The problem is I don't want to play smart. That sounded bad. I want to play fun.
Right,
I want to have fun, right?
Right.
I don't want to spend all these cores. I have my armor. I have my weapons.
And that's the problem.
Right? I want my stuff to go up with me.
And this is why you can't have nice things. Bungie says no. But Bungie says have some enhancement cores.
Yeah, whatever. So, I think we've been on this quite a while. It's getting late. So, what are we on right here? We are on the Drifter. Who do you truly serve? All right. So, before we get into this, A, there's going to be spoilers, and B, I'm about to be the one to give them to you. Okay. So.
Okay, we'll put a link in the show notes to when you can avoid respawn spoilers.
It's not too bad, right? It's just a person's name, right? I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I don't. It's a misnomer, right? So let's get that off. Let's get that out in the open right now. It is a misnomer from the get go. Are you choosing the Vanguard or are you choosing the Drifter? The Vanguard is not even in the equation, right? People are going to be like, what? What are you talking about? Listen, you're not choosing the Vanguard. If you decided to go Vanguard, you're not choosing Vanguard, right? You're choosing Anor, however you pronounce her name, Aunor, however you want to pronounce it. You're choosing her or the Drifter, right? Because I don't know how much lore you guys know or anything like that, but Anor is actually one of the hidden that work for Ikora, right? And Anor was told specifically by Ikora and the Vanguard to leave the Drifter alone. Leave him alone. They're not trying to get rid of him anymore. They're not trying to find out his secrets. They're not, just leave him alone, you know? I want to say it was Zavala says, we welcome all Guardians, you know? And then she said he's not a Guardian or whatever, right? They had this big back and forth that went back and forth. But the point is, it's not the Vanguard or the Drifter. It's Anor or the Drifter, because she's acting outside of the orders of the Vanguard, specifically Ikora, because Ikora, on top of the Vanguard, specifically told her, as one of her hidden, don't do this. Leave it alone. Leave it be. Anor did it anyway, right? Or is doing it anyway. So, Vanguard, not part of the equation. It is Anor who thinks she knows what's best for everyone, and the Drifter, right? And here's another spoiler, right? So the Drifter, if you've chosen his side, you already know this. If you've chosen the Vanguard, turn away, whatever. Just pause for 2 minutes, whatever, come back. Cool. So the Drifter was chosen by the Nine. He's one of 3 people that have been chosen to be worthy of the Nine, right? And the Nine actually gave him the little ball of shadows that follow him around, right? He didn't get that on his own. A lot of people think he got it on his own. Wasn't him. Nine gave it to him after he passed his quote-unquote trial, and they found him worthy, right? So the fact that the Drifter has told you there's something happening, something's going on. I've seen the darkness. I know that this, the fall of society was not the only fall. You know, I've seen it. I know what's coming, right? So he said that to you, right? I know people can't really trust him. Whatever. If you don't trust him, fine. If you do trust him, cool. Another thing is that, you know, the fact that the Nine chose him should be a huge, huge banner, light, hey, pay attention, this guy might know what he's talking about kind of moment, right? So, like I said, it's not even about the Vanguard, right? It's a misnomer. Get it out of your head. It's Anor versus the Drifter, and the Drifter is being backed by the Nine. Anor is acting alone, right? So, keeping that in mind, right? We have some statistics right here, and they're showing that people are overwhelmingly following the Drifter. Because as of right now, it seems like the Drifter knows what's coming, and the Drifter is the only guy that you want to stick behind to come out of here alive after all is said and done, right? So, anyway, that was my rant. That was my 2 cents. I just wanted to get that out the way because I think it's unfair that they're trying to be like the Drifter versus the Vanguard, because the Vanguard actually has nothing to do with this, right? So, taking that out of the equation, I'm done.
So I take it you've thrown your lot in with the Drifter then, basically about 75% of other people.
Dude, I want to live.
Yeah. So on the account level, again, like Respawn said, overwhelming majority account level, 74.9% Drifter, 25.1% Vanguard. And on the character level, which I found more interesting, since you can choose for character level, still 69.9% with the Drifter, 30.1% with the Vanguard. So they got about 5% more on the character level. People going, hey, I can play both sides of this thing. So I wonder if there's a lot of folks like me who finished the Drifter on the first character, haven't even touched either quest on either other character yet. But it seems like, yeah, everyone's going with the Drifter.
Or people did the Drifter on 2 characters and did Anor on the third, right? 30% of 100, right? It's 1 out of 3, right? Math stuff.
We don't math here.
Math hard.
This isn't math class. This is Frozen. You let that math go, buddy. Yeah. Let it go.
We have a couple of notices for people. So Cosmo says that the sandbox is looking into the whisper of the worm bug, as they think they know what the issue is now, and they're working on a fix for it. And I can't remember what that is about. Does anybody know what that whisper bug is? Parody's frantically looking it up for me. There is a really cool website called Destiny Roundup, which collects all the information from the Twitters and the blogs and everything else that you need to know. And I will link that in the show notes because that's pretty useful to see. So if you've missed out something per week and there's something that we haven't covered, there's a website that covers everything for that. So there's that. For the Weapon Core discussion forum for Bungie, if you wanted to raise any concerns, there is a forum that they are monitoring, and we'll link that in the show notes for everybody. And the issue that, or the point that Bungie raised in last week's This Week at Bungie with the synths for Gambit Prime, where they were saying that if you've got X amount of stacks that you can then turn it in for Glimmer with this new patch, that apparently they never intended for you to have more than one stack of each Prime synth. So they're currently investigating, so I don't know whether they're going to revert to what they originally wanted or you're going to just be able to have those amount of stacks. I found it useful because this week I decided to go into the Reckoning Tier 3, which was good fun because I just played with some blueberries. And yeah, it was good fun. I really enjoyed it. And we won some games and we lost some games. And I did choose a specific day. I went in with the Arc, had an Arc burn on it. There was Brawler, and I think there was Blackout. And being a Titan that flies around the map and then slams into the floor with the insurmountable Skull Fort, it was really good fun. And yeah, we managed to get to the end of Tier 3, and spoilers for anybody that doesn't want to find out. Once you complete the bridge part, this week it was go and kill the 2 knights, and the only extra parts that are different from tiers 2 to 3 are once you've killed the envoy or the hermit, the well pops up. You're then surrounded by yellow bar exploding thrall, which is really exciting because you also have those knights running at you, and then there's loads of other thrall that are just being thrown at you as well. And those taken wall blasts on all the pillars as you're running to each area. There's 4 different parts on the map. So I found it best to kind of run down the side on the steps, but not in the water because that water drains your light. So that was good fun. I mean, what I would say to anybody that does go into it, if you get to that part with the knights, with your team, don't leave after that because you've obviously done most of the hard part. Just try it again with your team. I was finding a lot of teams, we'd kill the first knight, but because we'd managed to take down the second knight's helmet, he was literally just running across the map and just slamming us straight away because he'd disappear and then he would reappear literally on top of you in the well, do one slam, he'd kill everybody. So just take your time with the Blueberry team and give it another go. Give it 2 or 3 goes because you will gel as a team. And I found that with the teams, that if we didn't do it the first time, everybody was like, let's go back into it. Let's try it again. And we went back into it and it worked. And this is where, Warlocks out there, this is the game mode for you because people are screaming out for Warlocks on all the LFG posts. We need a Warlock. We need this. We need that. We don't mind if you want to be Nova Bomb. We don't mind if you want to be Well of Radiance, but they prefer you as a Well of Radiance, to be honest, because moving up the bridge with that Well of Radiance is fantastic. And once you've got to that top of the bridge, I'd suggest maybe either switching subclass to Nova Bomb and the Skull of Diamkara, because in that Well of Radiance you'll get the extra bonus damage, and that well doesn't seem to save you from the knight slamming. So that's a tip from me for this week or the next week it comes up, because I think next week it'll be the Shadow of Oryx that will be up.
Something else I ran into while we were running it. I do want to second your call for the lovely Well of Radiance Warlocks. We ran with that one Well of Radiance Warlock Blueberry, and he was perfect. That works beautifully. Also, I ran as a Bubble Titan. That works pretty well. But one thing I noticed that I don't know if it's a bug, I don't know if it's just my dumb luck. When I was running the Bubble Titan build, and I would just pop the shield because we were fighting the knights, it didn't seem like they could hit me while I was in my super shield bashing them. I don't know if it was just dumb luck or if you're right under them, they can't find you. But like, I didn't die. I was able to use my entire super. Now, the moment my super ran out, if I wasn't out of there, they would smash me. But while the super was active, they didn't seem like they could kill me, or maybe they just were occupied. So
no, if you have your mobile shield out, they can't kill you. They slam you. And I did try one version where I had the Ursa Furiosa's on, so I was generating the orbs for the team, but the team were just kind of standing behind me, dying. So it wasn't really working.
Were you blocking or were you attacking at that point? Because
I was blocking him.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't blocking. I was just whacking. I was whacking at his knees. I'm going to whack at your knees until you fall down. I was just attacking him. I didn't block at all. This was all straight attack. And like I said, I think at one point I was between the two nights. At one point I was just at one of the nights. And like I said, I didn't die until that super drained all the way. So I don't know if that's a bug or if it's working as intended. But there's my random tier 2 reckoning tip for the week.
And so all those neurotic ones out there that have been waiting for us to say what the damn problem with the whisper is, the white nail perk actually isn't proccing at the moment. So
that was it. Yeah.
So your whisper is totally useless. Good job, everyone.
So when we were DPSing the knights, I'd put down my low barricade so we'd get the automatic reload. And I think after the first run, somebody figured out, he's holding the Wardcliff coil. Let's all switch to Wardcliff. And I think that's the issue that we did have. And sometimes it was our saviour, because if you had everybody stand there with full Wardcliffs, you could down those knights in 2 runs. But the problem was, if their helmets came off, that's when they charged you. And yeah, that was the issue. I mean, at one point, we'd killed the first knight in the first well. And because we'd done enough damage to the second knight, his helmet came off. And all he kept doing was charging us, and we didn't get him down in the last. We had 3.5 minutes to kill him, and every time everybody was just dying. We got to the point where everybody died. We waited outside the portal, all jumped in at the same time. Killed the hermit, and he still didn't manage to get him because he suddenly appeared on top of us. So, yeah, that was good fun. The last point on our list is Weapon Spotlight. I'm going to link a video by Cool Guy, who's done a review on the 21% Delirium? Yes. So he's done a video on the 21% Delirium, and I'll link that in the show notes. He goes over what supers cancel the perks. So I think he was saying if you do a Nova Bomb, it'll cancel the perk of the gun. If you pull out your Ghost, it'll also cancel the perk. He also goes into what mods are good on it. So he shows you the damage that a boss mod would do versus a backup mag damage mod. So you go through all the different numbers for that, and it's a really good review. So it's worth checking out if you do end up, like a lot of people are, slowly grinding through Gambit.
Yeah, and I'm sad that we now have a gun. Well, not now. We've got a lot of good machine guns, right? But the 21% Delirium is a really good machine gun right after the machine gun nerf. It's just like, you know what? Do you guys think this through? It's like...
And I think he does bring that up, yeah. But he also shows you, he goes over what perks to run on your armor to get the max amount of ammo in your inventory and things like that. So
yeah, heavy ammo finder, heavy ammo scavenger. Duh.
And while machine guns may have been nerfed, no one has told all the invaders in Gambit and Gambit Prime that their hammerheads aren't as effective, because that hammerhead is still really effective.
Look, it doesn't mean it's not good anymore. It just means it's not as good. Like, I was killing people 2 bullets with my hammerhead whenever I would invade. Now it takes more than 2 bullets, right? Can you do it? Yeah. Is it still valid? Yeah. Is it as good? No. Especially with the Wardcliff coil, man. It's just there's no contest anymore, man. It stinks. It sucks.
That's what Cool Guy shows you in his video. He shows you the amount of damage it does on a boss to a red bar enemy, and it's night and day difference. The red bar enemies damage is significantly higher than what you would do on a boss. So yeah, don't know what else to say on that.
Well, then I'm going to add, since we've had our weapon spotlight, I'm going to throw in our artwork spotlight for the week. A couple weeks ago that I forgot to mention, Deej actually put out a tweet with press kit images right as Season of the Drifter was dropping. And of course, you're looking, okay, press kit, who cares? More importantly, there's some really pretty artwork of, like the full Drifter ship with the hull behind it. And there's, some of basically a lot of the stills they used in their Vidoc video, they put in there. It's a Dropbox link you can download. They put all those stills in there so that it would make beautiful backgrounds, wallpapers. It's artwork you can use for the game. So I downloaded that just to have some more pretty things to put on my computers and screens, phones, and things. And also, there's a guy. Let me look it up. Vitfall on Imager. He's been going through every week from it looks like the beginning of time, basically. All of those, TWAB images, like the one this week with the Iron Banner. He's been going through and capturing all of those images and putting those into a Imager gallery. So you can scroll back through many, 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 many weeks. And I think there's a link all the way at the bottom that you can download all of them. So if you're looking for header artwork or, stuff like that, you want to play around with, or if there was one you really liked and wanted to grab and keep forever and ever and hold it to your chest tonight and dream of it happily. It's all out there.
Look, everybody. Look, I know he wants to put the artwork out there, and it's good artwork. But he's all like, I want to put it on my computer. I want to have something pretty. But let's be realistic here. We're talking about parody.
All he does Dusk and Dawn.
He takes these pictures. Let me finish. He takes these pictures, right, and then he loads them into Paint, and then he takes a little paint bucket and clicks on the pink and just dyes everything pink. And all of these TWABs.
And purple.
Pictures.
Dusk and Dawn. You have to get both sides of it. It's very important. You need balance.
No, you don't have the purple. I've seen your work, all right? I don't know what you're trying to tell these people. It's just pink, right? The other thing that you think is purple is just another shade of pink.
All right.
Okay.
You can find the non-pink artwork out there in the world.
Okay, guys. I think you're going to have to wrap it up there.
All right. GTFO, bro. Get out of here. Scram.
All right. Thank you for joining us this week. Your Titans have been, as always, Parody and Night Demon. Your hunter this week is No One Respawns in Real Life, who didn't test that theory this week and has come back to us after not respawning in real life. You can email the show at twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at twotitans_hunter. Or on Facebook. You can join the Frozen Clan. We'll put links in the show notes. Listen to us on Spotify. Look at us on YouTube. Listen to us in your favorite podcatcher. Enjoy Respawn's rants and his soothing vocals to listen to in the evening, and listen to Night Demon try to read a sentence, and listen to me try not to screw up this ending for the 19th time. Everybody have a good week, and until next time, we'll see you out there, Starside Guardians.
What? Did you just take that from Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I think you just took it from Bife.
Yeah, Bife. That's right. You took it from Bife, man.
Oh, that is his ending thing. All right.
Yes, you got to cut that. You can't be stealing other people's stuff, dude.
Yeah, no, I was like, someone does say that, didn't? Yeah, I was like, I feel like someone says this.
Yeah. It's because you listen to me too much that you're thinking, you drifted off into Bife land.
All right, do the last part again, or you want to do the whole part again? Because I don't want to get copyright.
We hope you've enjoyed listening this week, and maybe you've learned something. You've got 1 Brit, 2 Americans, and no Australian this week, so we'll see you out there in the universe, sitting at loading screens, looking at your Dusk and Dawn ships. Until next week, have fun.
Deuces! Also, I wanted to say when he said we have a Brit and 2 Americans, I wanted to say so bad, and 3 idiots. But he didn't give me enough of a space to say it.
Oh. Next time.
Yeah, next time. All right, I'm out. Later.
Bye.
Have a good one.